Canberra Metalheads.
The Archives.
Me and You Season 2. Alright, let's kick it.
Hello and welcome to the interview section of Canberra Metalheads. You got Marky Malphas, and I'm joined in the studio today with the guys from Psionic Tide. From left to right, we've got
Marty, I'm the bass player.
Cool.
Ahoy, Gav, the vocalist.
G'day, I'm Matt, the drummer.
Cool. It's good to have you boys in the studio. We like to catch up and have a chat on our days off when the weather's fine. You guys made the trip in here to have some studio time. We managed to score a little bit of off mic chats before that and get to know each other a little better. So, how's your morning been so far?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us here. It's awesome. I think we had some killer conversations about underground marble tournaments. I think earlier. I think we wasted some off-air time. Should have been on air.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, exactly. Like. It's always good when you get the conversation flowing and random things like that. It happens all the time in the scene, you know. Like everyone remembers that random, conversation that you have with the dude after the show. It just started off as good set and ended up as marble tournaments.
I just like the thought of we're all big tough metal guys and we're talking about the nerdiest stuff known to man.
We've said it on the show before. Like basically. All metalheads just got that soft side. Like you can just see it. I'm sure that even if you dug deep enough, you'd find it in even the toughest of them all.
Oh yeah,
you can tell it in the pits as well. Like someone goes down, everyone picks them up. It's a good little scene.
Oh, I think that's the scene in general. I think particularly the Canberra scene. It's refreshingly friendly.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of it.
Yep.
The nerdism is a factor in all of us too. I think it's wonderful. I don't think there's much of toughness here, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I think that toughness dies when we hit 17 or 18.
Yeah, when you realise that you don't need to put it on anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a front.
Yeah. It's when you realise that it's cool when you're in the scene for a while and you look down and you see the younger kids. And you're like, they'll learn that you don't need to be tough all the time. You know, it's cool like that.
Oh yeah.
Like I went to the Parkway. We were talking earlier about the Parkway Drive gig earlier. And I went to that one recently, and you've seen the pitch crazy there, and you would have noticed at other gigs as well. The pitch crazy. There's people just going everywhere. Circle pits, all sorts of things like that. But there's always that companionship of like, if you fall down, we'll help you out. We'll like do things like that. So I guess you hit the nail on the head when you said that it's a good scene like everywhere, not just locally.
Oh, definitely. I've seen it many a time where the biggest guy will go down hard, and you'll see a bunch of people go in and carry him out. It's awesome to see. I think one of the funniest things I saw at the basement was. A bunch of big-looking, metal guys, long hair, standard black shirts. I think that's all we wear. Yeah. Though I'm wearing a white shirt now, weird. Is guys sort of letting each other go towards the bar, going, no, after you, no, after you. I'm like, geez, we're tough, aren't we? Overly polite.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I think we have this weird persona, or what people perceive us as these hard-rocking metal guys and gals, and sort of go, I don't want to go near those guys. And then when they start talking to us, we're talking about computer games, or we're talking about, our hobbies and stuff like that. And it's kind of hilarious what they perceive us as. I love it.
Yeah, it's like you guys know this as well. Like when I started to learn more about music, you start paying attention to individual players of the band. So like if I'm learning bass, I'll watch the bass guitarist, things like that.
Yep.
It's nearly like anything on closer inspection will sort of lead on to like seeing it differently.
Yes.
So obviously, if you see metalheads from a distance, you're like, oh yeah, not gonna really go and have a chat to them, and then you're at the bar, hey, how you doing? And then before you know it, you're best mates. But like I said, in closer inspection, everything changes the perception once you get to learn more about it.
I think on stage is where you can release the aggression, where you can release, be that person that you're not, be that actor, be that what you want to be.
Yeah.
Kind of that fakeness, maybe not fakeness, but that sort of energy. You can release it out there. You can be that animal, be that whatever you want to be. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You can kind of release that power, release that energy on stage, and you can be that nerdy person out in the crowd and talk to all your mates that are out there. I think that's the great thing. And the Canberra scene, I think, I've only been here for 3 years, and actually the band's only been together for about 3 years.
3 years.
And I think that was great. We cut our teeth here at the basement. Our first show was actually Festival All Sorts. It was Shags through Shenanigans Entertainment. Actually, we were like one of the first bands on that day. I think it was like we were on at like 1 p.m. It was like, the cleaners were still sweeping out.
Yeah.
It was like, 3 people in the crowd, which was still petrifying for me. It was the first time I'd ever actually played on stage in front of humans.
Yep.
At least in a music context.
Yeah,
I still admit that I had a massive chuck in the bathrooms prior to the gig. It was a power chuck. It was ace. Nervous as heck. It was awesome. Got up on stage. We played a solid gig. I remember not remembering the entire set.
Yep.
And I remember going
That's just adrenaline rush of
my heart was pumping through my chest. And I recall saying like, okay, this is our last song. I'm looking down at the set list on the ground, and I'm like, I was a bit confused. I was like, what the heck? How the hell are we up to the last song? And I sort of looked around. I'm like, are we up to the last song? Or have I passed out for these last 5 songs? You know what I mean? And I hadn't. And we finished off, and I got off stage, and there was a bunch of guys there that were from other bands that were playing like well later into the night, because this festival went from like midday
Usually
to 2 a.m. like
a
a ridiculously long festival, like excellent. It was like 27 bands or something like that, you know. Yeah. And like the better bands, it's a silly thing to say, the bigger bands, the ones that have a bit of a following, we had like 12 followers on Facebook. Most of them were, my mum and my aunts and stuff like that,
The originals.
That's it.
Shout out to the original 12.
Thanks, Mum. They come up and shook my hand and stuff, and the other guys and the other peeps in the band, and sort of said like, you guys are going to be great. We want you on our bills and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, thanks. I was like a bit confused.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting praise.
Yep.
Straight away, and I'm not sure why we weren't. I wasn't expecting praise, but we got a bunch. And like, who are these people? And like, it turns out they were from some of the other Canberra bands. And I was like, this is amazing. We were told, we had some beers after the gig. Once the adrenaline went down, holy crap, it went down hard.
Yeah,
it was a strange feeling.
Yep.
And I really went down after it, like for a couple of hours, and beer helped that out, and I got it's fine.
Overcome it.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about it and go, hey, we've actually been offered a few more gigs out of this, and it was. I've said it a few times. It was refreshing. Like all these other bands from Canberra had just gone, hey guys, you sounded really great. Do you want to play on our bill in a few weeks? Do you want to come and play on our bill? And like, wow. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting this, this metal community to be like, you're not heavy enough, or you're not, you don't fit the hardcore bill, you don't fit this bill, but no, you guys are all right. Do you want to come and play? Like, man, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of Festival All Sorts, and I myself have stumbled on a few bands that we've had on the show even, just due to that bill having such a diverse range of artists. And I think that it's good every now and then to mix it up and have bands like that. And I've mentioned on the show before, and you guys might have heard if you listened, that I am branching out more with what we do, and including not just metal, but also alternative as part of the Canberra scene. Because I think it would be sort of it wouldn't be fair to have a Canberra like music show without including all ranges of music. We listened to the intro track before, and like you've got a lot of energy and with your performance, and that's what appeals to metalheads, is not just the music but also the energy that the artist puts into the performance. And that's why usually you'll gravitate to like a lot of metalheads also listen to other types of music as well, like hip hop and stuff, and it's only because they're drawn to that passion. So that's why it's good to branch out.
I totally agree. We even within the band, our Psionic Tide, we have a massive different range of influences within ourselves, and I think that's quite evident in the music that we write as well. I think if we all liked the identical or the same bands, you'd start sounding like a clone. Like if we all loved Slayer, we'd start sounding like Slayer. If we all loved Meshuggah, we'd all start sounding like Meshuggah. But I mean, and I love those two bands, I just want to point that out. But you know, it was quite interesting when we sort of first got together. We were sort of talking about different bands that we liked, and we were very surprised that like we range from like Matt loves sort of Seven Dust, and I'll say he likes Creed. I just want to point that out.
Love Creed.
But some of his drumming styles are amazing with that sort of stuff, and I sort of realise how great those influences are. With Nick, who's not here today, he's actually overseas at the moment. His influences, particularly most of the writing's done by Nick himself. He's an epic writer. He'll write 55 songs and sort of just go, oh yeah, I've just been doing some writing over the weekend. I'm like, oh, what have you done? He's like, yeah, I've just recorded 12 tracks. And I'm like, holy jeez, man.
Let me know what you think.
Yeah, and we'll sort of just work into that. And the influences, like I was sort of always as a kid, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, that sort of stuff. And I'm really glad I branched out from that, because I was that stereotypical kid who didn't listen to anything but that. And I was that painful kid who was like, anything that's not that isn't real metal. And I want to punch myself thinking about that now. You know, I'm really glad I branched out and listened to things that aren't metal, you know, now particularly. If I didn't, we wouldn't be sort of listening to the music and writing the music that we are now. Otherwise, we'd just be listening to another sort of Metallica or Pearl Jam clone type sort of thing, you know?
I get that. It's not just to branch out in your listening, but also in your playing as well. That makes perfect sense. We mentioned before some of the like the length of time the band's been together and things like that. So you're the original members, one of the original members.
No, it was actually myself and Nick. I was just looking for someone just to play with, and music wise that is, and put an ad out just in Gumtree, just looking for a guitarist. And Nick came up, and so we got together. We had a drink, we had a chinwag, and we got together, had a jam, and we sort of clicked. Yeah. And then Nick said he knows an old mate of his who plays guitar and sings as well, but he wants to focus more on the singing side. So that was Gav, and so we brought him in, and we had a jam, and everything started to roll into one. We recorded. I've still got our early sessions. Whenever we jam, I like to record it. Yeah. And so I've still got those early days, and just playing back like the tracks that are playing on here. Yeah, the original ones of those are interesting.
Actually, we recorded Judith by Perfect Circle, and I tried to emulate his voice, and I did it horribly. I mean, we need to put it out on like a B-side, because it's so terrible that it's fantastic. And every now and again, Matt, when we're like doing a recording session or something like that, Matt will go, "I'll just play that back," and he'll have that queued up and just play it back.
This magic button, Gav, bang, and straight.
We're like, you son of a bitch.
He's played it for me, and I concur. It's
really like an initiation thing, like being yourself. Like we were saying before about the dynamic of the band and the lineup. You're the newest member at the moment.
I've been in the band since March, I think. So.
Yep. Cool. And that's like an initiation thing. Like, what do you think of this? And if you don't laugh or something like that, then it's nearly
what am I meant to do?
Yeah.
Am I laughing? Am I cringing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know if they thought it was good the first time I heard it. And so, what do you do? Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
He packed his bags and left, yeah.
Because if I said, oh, wow, this is the best thing I've ever heard, they probably would have found someone who could hear. And,
don't want to,
but you don't want to dump on it too much, of course, because everyone
it.
starts somewhere. So
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm sure that still, even though it's the point of laughter, it's still probably a lot better than anything that you could that I could probably do or anyone else outside of the scene could do.
You haven't heard it.
But I look forward to hearing. But I tell you what, also I'd like to hear is like maybe like a redo of it, like now.
Yeah, maybe.
And just see like the contrast.
Yeah,
that'd be
absolutely.
a perfect
Yeah, I'd be up for
B-side,
that. That'd be
pre and post.
All right.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Because, like, I mean, dude, you got a massive voice. Like, I'd like to hear that. I'm sure that the newer version would still blow everyone's socks off.
Oh, thanks, man.
Especially...
You did say voice then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so the...
I thought you were the comedian.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, anyway, so... I think that it was actually a festival, all sorts, that I did catch you guys at the first time that I spoke to you about having you on the show. So I'm glad to see that it's progressed from that to getting you actually in the studio. And like I said, it's definitely worth branching out because otherwise you wouldn't be able to, if you just play death and black metal every week, you'd dry up the Canberra scene pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think some of the other bands that we've played with... We've kind of slotted into a few different styles of shows, which has been really cool for us. We've gone into some really some hardcore shows.
Yep.
And we've gone into some death metal-y shows. We've gone into some alternate shows. It's been cool. Yeah, Viking metal shows. Yeah. It's been awesome. We just seem to be a band that sort of fits into different bills, and it's been kind of cool. The hardcore shows have been pretty interesting, especially when there's been 3 hardcore bands and pretty full on bands and us.
Yep.
And it's kind of like us first or us second or something, and then these other bands are just the whole time, and just whoa, and us just we kind of got different dynamics and stuff like that, and some of the hardcore ones are pretty damn energizing, and they do that the entire gig, and these guys work out hard, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good to have that range of being able to be on multiple sets because it means that obviously you got more opportunities for gigs. We'll talk more about the band and some things that they've got on the horizon. That's your first EP at the moment. We spoke before about plenty of things in the works, and obviously the backlog of all the songs that most bands will have. What was it like recording that one? Obviously, it's you've got a different lineup now, but what was the process like clicking as a band for the first time recording?
It was sort of a semi-smooth process.
Yep.
I think it was one of Gav's first times. I've been in previous bands back in previous lives, and so I've sort of been through the process before, but I think Nick has as well. So we were sort of fine, we did our thing, then Gav came in, then we got the bass down, and it sort of was a smooth process. Mm-hmm. It's then just down to, the mixing, mastering, all the fiddly bits, but I think we set a time frame, and we got it delivered, which was good. But overall it was a smooth process.
Yep. It seems pretty organic the way the band came together initially anyway, so it'd be good to just follow that on with, being smooth. We were all I was still all energised from having all the songs down. Let's just get it down, let's get them down, and we got them down, and no, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. The artwork for the EP, the EP is called Exosphere.
Yep.
It was weirdly from Facebook. Follow a ton of art pages on there, and it was just from one of those people that sort of pump out a ton of different artworks and say, hey, you want to check out some of my artwork and put it for your album covers. And most of it was really over the top, like satanic, like death metal sort of theme. It was amazing, but not us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really liked his stuff. And I was sort of just checking it out because I dug his stuff. And then I sort of went through and it was like this really spacey sort of galactic theme. I'm like, oh, actually, I like this stuff that he's doing as well. I'm like, oh, I really like this. And I quickly forwarded it to the other guys and said, what do you think about this? And the guy's like, yeah, that's us. And I'm like, oh, I'll see what he's charging. And it was reasonable. So I hit him up and I realized about sort of 2 or 3 days into the conversation that he spoke no English whatsoever. He was from Russia, and
really?
He was using Google Translate the entire time because some of the responses I got back were just I didn't understand what he was saying. I'm like, what the heck? I've asked him a pretty normal question, and he's come back with like non strange responses, I suppose.
Yep.
And he apologized a few times and said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'm using Google Translate. And I thought, how cool is this? What a sweet era that we're in. I'm talking with a dude from Russia about artwork that he's done for the EP that we've just written and just done that we're producing right now. And he's selling us this artwork to make, and we're a band in Canberra. We're talking to a guy in Russia over Google Translate. I thought the world we're in is so cool, you know?
Just you've got like multiple points of technology there.
Totally.
It's nearly like you need at least 3 points of technology to get through to like certain areas of the world. So
I know.
As the points of technology increases, the areas that you can reach increase.
Yes.
And at the moment you're hitting places like Russia, which is pretty crazy.
It's so cool. And I mean, I just love the fact that a little band from Canberra is just reaching out to globally for artwork. And we've decided for the next EP, we're releasing another EP fairly soon. It's going to be early 2019. The songs are mostly done. We've just got to record the vocals and then do a bit of mixing and mastering. There's a Canberra guy because we want to kind of keep it local for the artwork this
Excellent.
time.
Yeah.
His name's Dan. He's going to do the artwork for it.
Okay.
We've kind of given him a bit of artistic integrity.
Excellent.
And we've given him a bunch of styles that we want to do, and he's going to do it for us.
That always helps, giving a bit more free reign. I mean, we're talking off mic a little bit about tattoos, and like I know that artists in that scene definitely prefer a little free reign, or like if they're sort of booked up and they have a cancellation, they kind of only really open that free day to people that just are happy for them to have fun with it.
Definitely.
So yeah, I definitely can appreciate the fact that a little bit of free reign definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure. And we're sort of curious how it would go. I mean, with the last EP, Exosphere, it was a pre-done drawing. It was what we saw there. We'll take that basically. But this one's kind of, we've got the themes, the songs are done. It's about this particular song, and do a drawing, do some artwork about this, and it'll be kind of cool to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, excellent. And it's always that moment of reveal as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah, kind of a bit stressy too.
Yeah,
because we have kind of no real idea what he's going to come up with.
Yeah, but the other thing is too, like I'm sure that once the album's out and things like that, he's also probably going to be excited to get a copy and listen to it and see what the music behind that artwork is.
Yeah. One thing we loved with this particular guy, Dan, we reached out to it. Actually, I reached out on Facebook a while ago and said, hey, we're looking at artists for album covers. Mm-hmm. And man, oh man, I think within 10 minutes I had 300 responses. It was ridiculous. You put something out for a band and you have like 10 likes in like 50 days. But you put something like that out, it was like 300 responses in like 10 minutes. Like, holy moly, I need to do this on our band,
Yeah.
But a couple of local ones sort of popped up, and Dan came up and said, actually, have you got a gig coming up soon? I'd like to come to your gig. And I guess he smooth talked his way into our band. He said, I'd like to come and check out the band to see what sort of art I'd like to do to get a feel of the band. And like, this guy's tricking us into this, that son of a bitch. Which was good because we're like, you know what, this guy's paying for a ticket. He's coming, and it worked. It worked. And a real cool guy. And we'll see what he does.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see it as well.
Mm-hmm.
it's cool also to hear the backstory about the previous album artwork as well. You tend to get a lot of local bands just getting local artists and things like that, like you've got now. But you've kind of got the best of both. You've got like all the way to Russia to back to Canberra. So it's good to have both sides of the coin.
Definitely.
Mix it up. You guys also got, like we mentioned before, some upcoming stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any gigs or anything that you'd like to mention on the air while we've got?
Yeah, we'll plug one. We've got next Saturday, actually, Saturday the 3rd.
Yep.
It's through Vertex Studios. Scotty Bills is running it. We're actually headlining this one, which is cool. It's at the Transit Bar.
Excellent.
We've also got Skyvery, the Pretty Bones, and the Wardens of Sound on this bill. It's going to be ace.
Cool.
So Transit Bar, Saturday the 3rd of November. Be there. It's about 7 o'clock. I think the first band's going to be on. I don't know what the cost is. Don't know if it's going to be cheap but it's going to be ace for 4 Canberra bands. And Skyvery, Pretty Bones, Wardens of Sound, and of course us, Psionic Tide.
Cool. Yeah, that's perfect. It's good to cross promote other gigs as well. So some of the bands on that, obviously, it's I can play them as part of the show as well, which helps give everyone a little taste of the music coming up as surrounding you guys. And Transit Bar's a rad little venue for things like that, for bands that I've seen recently. A few bands play there. And yeah, it really lights up, and the sound's rad. So yeah, head on down to that one and check that one out on. I'll share a link to the event on our social media.
Fantastic.
Now this show airs on Thursday.
Yep.
But it goes back for playback on Sunday, so it'll be after the playback. But
so I hope you enjoyed the gig.
Yeah, so if you're listening to the playback, hope you enjoyed the gig, and stick around for some tracks from that gig. And also, if you're listening on Thursday, make your plans for that. But also, the biggest hype at the moment is social media. So obviously, check out the Facebook page for the link to the event, and we'll get you there in time.
Definitely.
Cool. Also, do you guys have like Bandcamp or anything like that?
Yeah, we've got Bandcamp, like Reverb Nation, SoundCloud, all that sort of standard stuff that everyone seems to have.
Spotify and iTunes.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I think basically if you type us in, we're in any sort of social media cloud. Like I think every band kind of should be now.
Yeah.
I think you're really missing
Seems to
out.
be where it's going.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of reluctance for some bands initially. I'm not sure why.
Yep.
I think I had the Instagram reluctance for some reason. I think it's because initially I didn't understand it. I'm that kind of gen that kind of went, I don't understand this, therefore I'm not using it. And I actually had, this was kind of hilarious. I had a girl at work a few years younger than I that started following our band page and goes, hey Gav, who's running your Instagram? Because you can tell it's being run by an old man. I'm like, I bit my fist. I'm like, damn it, it's me. Why? What's wrong with it? She goes, oh man, you've got to learn your hashtagging, eh? I'm like, please teach me your ways. So I sent her a photo and I said, what would you hashtag here? And like, I reckon it was like 30 seconds later, she just went, and it was like 50 hashtags underneath it. I'm like, holy man, that was spectacular. And like, so I went, all right, I'll trial these hashtags, lady. And I put it on. It was like 5 seconds later, I had like 35 likes immediately. I'm like, oh, these work. Okay. And so I'm like, all right, I'll learn your ways. Your mystical, what is this, sorcery?
Hashtag sauce.
Yeah. And now I'm like, okay, I get this. I get it. Like,
I think the first time I ever hashtagged properly was my own personal account, and I didn't realize that, like, this is going to sound completely old man on my behalf. You got to separate each word with the hashtag. So like, I literally just wrote out, like, breakfast, good time, birthday, blah blah blah, but it was all one long ass hashtag, and
hashtag
still
ever.
to this day it's the only thing under that hashtag. So I regularly check up on that one. So it's nearly like, if I ever want to just have little posts for myself, I could just hashtag that and know that the only things will be my posts under that one.
You've just tuned into old man social media hour.
But yeah, so we get it with the show as well. Like sometimes you'll get too many, like your description will be too long to post. So like it'll post but without the description. So like I'll get people, might just look at it and be like, oh, there's no description on this. But there is, it's just, hasn't come through. So I have to re-edit and put it in. So it can be a little bit tricky, but, learn as you go. Yeah. And also it helps, with followers and things like that. Like you said, it's just the way things are seeming to progress.
Definitely. I think people got to get on board that sort of thing, I think. And the other thing I think is the way music's kind of changing, for better or worse, I'm not sure, is the whole... Do you release an album, or do you release a bunch of songs singles at a time? Do you release EPs? And I mean, like anything, particularly on the internet, it's mixed opinion. Yep. Do you wait a year for an album to come out, or do you release a bunch of EPs? Like it's a tough one because people want content. We're in an era where people are sort of going, I don't want to wait a year for a song. Yep. I want a song now because we don't have any patience.
Yeah, and then once an album comes out, just sit there and burn through 18 tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had a band from Melbourne on the show called Blacklist, and they recently released, and they spoke about it in the interview, that exact same conundrum. Do we put, like, if you put out an album at the end of 2018, that might just get forgotten. Yeah, what I mean? It could potential for that to happen. Now they've got this this hype at the moment where they're kind of releasing teasers and trailers and EPs and things like that, and it seems to be going really well for them.
Cool.
So I guess as society changes and as the way that we ingest information and in such like a heavy, fast burn sort of paced era, people's attention spans are shorter and in short bursts.
Yep. And
that seems to be why they seem to be getting more response just from releasing, teasers, trailers, and then like build up hype and then EP, and then later on another track or a music video and flowing it through that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, if you've got the material, it's also great to put out albums. Like I can appreciate just sitting down and listening to an album. You know what I mean? It takes me back to when I was hanging out, at home with Dad, and he'd be like, "Oh, this is you're old enough now. I'll put on this album," and it'd be like, an AC/DC album from when I was younger, or when he was younger, even put on like a Black Sabbath album. Yeah. Like I remember when we were kids. One Sunday afternoon, my brother, Dad, and I, when Mum was out, he goes, "All right, boys, we'll chuck on one of my old vinyls, and I'll show you what music used to be like."
Yeah. That's such a Dad thing to say.
And and the more and more I think back, the more and more I realise I'm becoming that guy. But we sit down and we all crowd around as he puts on this vinyl. And we sit back and he opens up the cover and he said, "Now what you do, boys, is you listen to the song and you look at the artwork from the vinyl while you do it."
It's good advice.
So we sit down just like he's reading a picture book. My brother and I, either side, we're probably like 8 and 10. And pulls out Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And
appropriate for a Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely, 8 and 10-year-old. And as soon as it kicks off, we're just engulfed with this amazement of just what is this? Where's this come from? And we've got like theories about what they mean by this song and what that what the album artwork's about, and we've got kind of like this whole backstory about it and everything. It was literally like an afternoon of just hanging out listening to vinyls, and now my brother and I are just that's what we do, and that's what we still talk about that day.
You're literally hosting a music show right now.
Yeah. And my brother runs South Coast Metalheads, which is gig promotion and things like that. So he's basically doing the gigs and the bands, and I'm just doing the promotion, the radio. So together, Dad Dad didn't realise, but that afternoon he created something.
Yeah, right.
You did a good job, Dad.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he still sits down on a Sunday afternoon and listens to his vinyls.
That's good.
I went out to
on
his place recently, and he's just sitting there with his vinyl collection in like a record player. One of the old school. Have you ever heard of a brand called Chrysler with a K?
No.
Oh, dude, it's like I think their logo is like a dog staring down the muzzle of like an old record player.
Gramophone.
Yeah, the old gramophone. But yeah, he has one in the shed.
Cool.
And he throws it on, puts a vinyl on, and listens to it, and he just goes, "What do you think of that, mate?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's good, man. It's good." He goes, "Yeah, $1 garage sale."
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal.
awesome. So he's still kicking it.
Dads love bargains, so.
Oh man, yeah, like that.
Marty, I like bargains.
Dude, I
Hey, I'm a dad. I like bargains.
yeah, I the amount of dad jokes and bargains I enjoy, I'm kind of worried what this might become. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, thanks for hyping stuff on the show and talking about the band and things like that. We'll close it up now with just final words of checking out social media and things like that. Just to cap it all off, we got the gig coming up at the Transit Bar on the
Saturday 3rd of November at the Transit Bar.
Excellent, we've got that, and also check out, as you mentioned before, Bandcamp, Spotify, and social medias for Psionic Tide, and also they'll be shared in the post online, and obviously also check out Canberra Metalheads. We're on obviously on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thanks for listening. We are Psionic Tide.
You're listening to
Canberra Metalheads.
Yeah.
Bianca, bam!